everyone. Hi, NunPub.
Hi.
Hi, friends.
Hello.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's after dark. Even possibly like Jess.
No, not quite.
Okay, not yet. Yeah, so it's after dark, which means, anything goes. So why not play Aloha Earth, which if you are a old school unpub in-person designer, you probably know a lot about it because in 2019 it was like the game that everybody wanted to get in on.
It was the game we all said needed to be published.
You actually did literally convince me. After that, I was like, I guess we're going to make this. And then we never did. COVID hit. And I talked to Gravitation Games and said they were looking for games. And I was kidding around. I said, I don't know. What about Aloha Earth? And they were like, really? It's like, yeah, I'm never going to make it. So why don't you make it? So that's how the whole thing kind of came to be. And, we're here. This is where we are. One second. So we will have somebody else joining us shortly, by the way. So Aloha Earth not only will be a card game, party game that you can play in person eventually. There's also an online web app so you can play with your friends anywhere right now. And it's aloha.earth. So if anybody wants to check that out while we're playing and you want to see what kind of crazy zany things we could be doing that you could be seeing in the game, that's where that is. But basically, the gist of the game is that we are aliens that have discovered Earth in a far, far, far future. And all that's left here is basically our trash and things that we left. And we're trying to, they're trash. We're trying to decipher what this all means. What were they like? Hello.
Hi.
So we were trying to decipher what everyone was like. What were the humans like? And the reason we're on this expedition is because we are experts of all of the human things. We're scholars and we study them. So each of us can kind of take an angle as to what we like about the humans. So maybe like Ian might be the sports expert or the food expert. Maybe I'm the science expert or the arts expert, that kind of thing. And we will all argue these things we find and see who obviously knows the etymology of the word or the origin of the thing. And we will determine what it is by the end of the night. So we'll know at least 5-6 Earth things by the end of the night, which is really exciting. Monique has just joined us.
Hi.
We were just saying that, we thought it was after dark on the West Coast, but I guess we're wrong. It's not quite after.
No, my alarm didn't go off, and I live by that thing. So I was like, blah! So I'm sorry about that.
So I started to explain the game just so people would understand what the heck we're even doing. But now that you're here, why don't we do quick introductions? And we can start with Ian, I guess.
Hi, my name's Ian Reed from just outside of the Philadelphia area. Me and a friend of mine, Josh, are starting our own projects. We're Precious Cargo Games, represent this with the shirt. We are working on a project right now called the Miri. It's kind of like if you had a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, but it was more like the DM was a fortune teller, right? So like you're submitting cards in a fortune teller and they're tarot card reading effectively what's going on in the story, but the players get to put in the cards and things like that. Art by Nick Nazzaro, intro by Banana Chan. So we got some pretty good people attached to that project.
Nice.
Oh, and you can get a print play version of it if you go to preciouscargogames.com and then sign up for the email, and it'll just send you the PDF for it. Good to go.
Jay?
hey folks, I'm Jay Treat, he, him. I have been living near Heather and Ian, but I'm about to move to Denver, Colorado to start at Direwolf Digital, making games. I'm very excited about that. You can check out the stuff that I've already made at treatgames.com. And the news, this is brand news, haven't mentioned this anywhere. I'm about to drop 3 new titles on Drive-Thru RPG before I can't do any of my own games. So
Nice.
check that out.
Jess?
So I'm Jess Schoonmaker. I am half of Legacy of Play, but the owner. We just dropped our first app. It is the Play Valet, and it helps you choose what game you want to play when you have no clue. And it saves all of the time of figuring out what you want to play. We also have a game signed with a publisher that should theoretically come out this year, but it was supposed to be on Kickstarter in February, so we'll see how things work out because COVID. Yeah, that's who I am.
And Monique?
Hello. I'm trying to get my things going here. My name is Monique. I am a Twitch streamer. I go by Game Freak Geek on Twitch, and then Game Freak Geek Girl on Twitch, and then Game Freak Geek on Twitter. So sorry. And I am also with Gravitation Games as their Twitch host for Aloha Earth on Wednesday nights. So that's what I do.
Nice. And I'm Heather O'Neill. So I'm one of the designers of Aloha Earth, and also on the Unpub board, and CEO of Ninth Level Games. So I make some RPG assistance, but mostly board games. And then this party game is actually kind of a meta thing that we have been doing for many years, and just kind of one of those things that we would just talk about in car rides, or waiting for a game to start, or sitting around after hours. And Monique, before you joined, I was saying that the other 3 had played it in person at 2019 Unpub, and we had a real blast playing it, and that kind of convinced me that maybe it was worth actually making the game.
I have a really great time with it. I like it a lot.
Awesome. Well, thanks. We did say, just so that Monique's up to speed, we can try to share the app, but it looks really small on the screen. Mm-hmm. So what we did is everybody's just going to log in and pick their word, and we'll just say what it is and go through that way. But we put the app link for people to check out on here.
Okay. Sweet.
Just to catch you up. So I feel like Ian, whoops. Well, bye.
Oh my goodness.
So Ian's so ready, but now we got to wait for Monique.
Oh, I got to pick my words.
Yeah,
right?
Pick your words. Ian and I were, how many things did we say today? Earlier, I said, are you ready for tonight? And we just went back and forth remembering the crazy things we did a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, last time we played this.
Oh, yes. The summer of '69 was a wild one.
Yes. All right. And also, while you're picking your words, I forgot. What does everybody want to be the expert of? Your options are science, sports, art, food, travel, technology, and music.
I guess I can do what you said earlier, which was food and sports.
We'll pick one.
Okay. Sports then.
But I wanted sports.
Oh, you can have sports. I'll do food.
Sports, and then you could butt heads. It's up to you.
Perfect. I take sports.
All right, Jay.
Zaxor is fascinated when humans make tiny versions of themselves. So I'm going to say art.
Nice. Monique, do you have a preference?
I will go with music.
Nice. I was actually thinking about music this time. I think I'm gonna go food.
I was food.
Yeah. I heard the humans taste like chicken, so and I heard chicken's a good food. So.
Oh, can you be the same thing? Is that
Yeah.
Is that okay, cool.
All right. Let us know what you found when you were there.
All right. So I start with the location, right?
If you want.
Okay, so it says on an army base.
Oh, that's fitting.
And apparently, since I am the food person, I am serving up some fresh Zamboni. All right, so I talk about what that is now, right?
No, you don't have. You can send it to one of us if you're not prepared. What is this thing you found?
It is fresh Zamboni.
Ooh. Well, I mean, you're a food expert too, and I'm surprised you haven't heard of this before. Fresh Zamboni is a delicacy among the Northern Earthers, mainly in the Canadian version, I believe it is. It is a delicacy. They put it on ice. They display it for the full crowd to see before it's eaten, and it's really hard to get a ticket. I hear it's very expensive. Like, it's going to cost you a lot of money, but people will line up and they will watch the Zamboni until it dies, and then they will feast.
You're so right, Heather. I have heard almost the same thing, but slightly different. So what I heard is they do this thing called hockey, I think is how they said it. And it was mostly Canadians, but they, during times between the sports, because, I'm the expert on sports, like the Zamboni came through, and it was this fancy thing, and like that was everybody's favorite time to watch, and so they totally went through, and like everybody awaited watching Zamboni, and it was just the best part of the show.
Sure.
See, the thing is, humans really need their Zamboni just as fresh as possible, and that means cold. They had tried putting it on balls of ice, and they tried snowing on it, and ultimately what they determined was that they needed it to roam around a field of ice, shaving little pieces of ice to get that right level of cold freshness to enjoy.
Yeah.
But how did that play into the hockey, Jay?
Well, I think hockey might be a myth, but if it happened, then I would say that the whole point of the hockey session was in order to imbue the ice with the flavors that the Zamboni would really need to bring out and make fresh. Just scrape up that little bit of hockey blood and sweat.
Now, you're saying hockey. That reminds me of the cafe, which I know is iced. So it would make sense that this hockey would be involved with ice. And that's just me coming from a food perspective, but it sounds like it would make sense.
This is really fascinating.
And that blood and sweat that Jay was talking about, I think gives it just that little extra that everybody wants.
Yes. And actually, there was hello, Monique. They professor of music, or expert of music. And there was actually the sport of hockey, I believe was mentioned. And so, hockey was a very popular place to get a good Zamboni. And there was this one hockey team. They were very poor hockey players, but they were excellent musicians. And so they created a new band called the Fresh Zamboni as well, where they would start to play. So now it became synonymous not only with the food, but with also this new popular band. So it really became kind of an experience to go with these really excellent delicacies. There'd be this whole anthem that would go with it because of the hockey players turned band members of Fresh Zamboni.
Yeah, makes sense. Ian, anything to add?
I think that what Monique was saying was there's like an event level to this that's going on, right? And every time this Zamboni would appear, it would be this almost like a feast, right? You'd have music playing, you'd have pretzels and beer.
Beer is the best during the pretzels and Zamboni.
And I think what Monique was saying sounds very accurate.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're all there, but like, what was the actual origin of it?
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, haki was, of course, Hawaiian in origin. So the
Aloha.
Zamboni, yeah, exactly, probably also came from Hawaii.
That makes sense. Yeah. If we're ready to call this a vote, the way that we would vote is each of us would pick clearly knows. That person will pick who they think supported their argument the best. So because we're not doing it digitally, I guess we'll have to just like point, or we can go around. So Ian, you seem to like some other people's points. Who do you think has the clear, correct origin here?
I'm gonna have to go with Jay.
Okay. All right. Jay, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with Monique on this one personally.
Okay, 1-1. Jess?
I'm going to go with Monique as well.
All right, 1-2. And I'm Monique.
I was going to go with Jess.
Okay.
I like their enthusiasm for the subject.
I did like their enthusiasm.
Hockey is my favorite sport, so I feel a little bummed if I don't get this one.
Yeah. Oh, you had to say that right before I did. Because you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna say it's Jay, because I really thought Jay's brought it home, and then Jay gets to award a good supporting argument to anyone that they would like. So Jay got a point. Basically, what do you think worked well with your?
Specifically with mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gotta go with Jess. I gotta go with Jess for that. Yeah.
All right. All right. So then I'm just gonna keep score. I'm gonna do the old school way. We're play testing here, right? So. Right.
It's not pub. What else would you do?
I mean, I have to. All right, Jay. I guess tell us you found it, Earth.
None problem.
I'm calling you Jay. Your human name. What's your written name again?
Zaxor.
Zaxor. I'm sorry. I seen the J. I know that we're using our human names, and that's kind of fun. But then that makes me forget your real name. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that is confusing. I will put both my my fun human name and my true alien name.
Yeah, thank you.
So I was rifling through an old human casino, and I found a dog shoe.
Oh.
Yeah. So I found this particularly interesting because it was my understanding that primarily the dogs did not wear shoes. And the humans did, but this was clearly a dog shoe, and so I looked into it, and as far as I can understand, it was piloted by the dog's nose. The dog would put their nose in the shoe and then drive it around. I feel like that would be a more inefficient mode of travel for an animal with 4 legs, but apparently they did like to do a 5-legged thing where they would use each of their given legs and then there'd be shoed face to locomote.
Zaxor.
Go ahead, Ian.
Zaxor, you ignorant alien. Haven't you seen the historical document of the dogs sitting around a table playing cards? There's a reason you saw it at a casino. Now, what a dog shoe actually is there's a specific area for dogs to participate in such, gambling type things. And they need to get their cards from somewhere, So the beagle dealer would use his nose to take the cards from the shoe. It was like an actual card shoe that they would draw the cards from and hand them out to the other dogs.
Ah, yes, the classic second use of a shoe to draw cards. Thank
Yes.
you for reminding me.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I only thought there were 2 or 3 human meanings for shoe, but I'm clearly wrong because shoe is obviously a pastry, and they would make little pastries for dogs. And dogs, as you know, became at one point almost as popular and as loved as cats for the human culture. So they could literally go into any establishment with humans. They would get special treats. They would get special things when they went to the Starbucks, which is like the mecca, obviously.
Cappuccino.
Yeah, they could get puppuccinos, and then the dog shoe, which was basically a little bun that was shaped like a dog for your pet.
See, I think you're really close.
Okay.
Because, hello, I think there is the thing that is specialized towards dogs. That is a dog shoe.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you get it at Starbucks. I think that's a special thing that we're not going to go into right now, even though it is after dark. But the dog shoe is more geared towards the shoe that helps them participate in the hockey. It helps them be able to perform on the ice, and it helps them just continue doing what they do as dogs. So you're very close, but you don't get it at Starbucks.
Okay.
That's a totally different thing.
Okay.
Jonathan, remind me, was the term for all dogs who played human sports Airbud?
Yeah, but it was the pups.
Ah, thank you.
Air pups. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought those go in your ear. No? Okay.
No, that's earbuds.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That was the halfway in between Airbud and Air Pups.
I thought it was the thing that they played in hockey, the little disc.
Yeah, that makes
At
sense
the dog.
too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. Weren't those called pups?
Oh, maybe.
Close.
Close. Okay, they were called. All right.
They were called.
They were called close.
Good to know.
Not pup.
Yes. It must be my dialect.
Sure.
Must have
That makes
misheard it.
sense.
So we have, going over once more, we have the dog shoe from Zaxor, you were science.
Art.
Art. Got it. And there's poker. And then, sorry, I'm trying to go back over everyone's arguments again.
Yeah. Or everyone could make their case. I think there was a gambling thing from Ian, right? Mine was a pastry-based argument.
Okay. All right. This is all just very surprising. Well, I'm trying to go back over it again because, hi, I am Monique, and I am the expert in music. And actually, the dog shoe wasn't actually anything to do with dogs. It was actually a phenomenon after a very famous drummer from Red Hat Peppy Peppers, who was a very, very profuse moist inducing person. So they would induce a lot of moisture while they would drum, and it was so magnanimous in its production that it would then fill his shoes at the end of the show. So that was Dog's shoe. It became a big sensation that he would then pour out the shoe liquid on stage to signify the end of the show, because that way they could make sure everyone evacuated the building and there were no lurkers on afterwards. So dog shoeing also became, in the music industry, slang for clearing the house.
Nice.
Right.
That makes sense.
Wait, it's not the shoe that you use on the ice to keep everybody safe and not going everywhere?
It was just a different kind of shoe. It was more of a music slang term after a drummer dog from Red Hat Peppy Peppers.
And I can see that, like, a lot of these things might be true, but, like, if this band was as popular as they say, maybe they influenced many other things to be called that. Who could
Wait,
say?
the red hot puppy peppers? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
The red hat peppy peppers.
Okay.
Do we feel like we're ready to vote?
Yeah.
This is a tough one. Though it's insane, I'm voting for Ian. Because that seems wrong, so it's probably right. That's the origin.
I mean, the red hot puppy peppers. I'm still not going to be able to pass that up. I think Monique gets it for me.
Okay.
Hmm.
Monique, what do you, or Jay? Yeah.
So I'm aware of another shoe-based pastry, the shoe fly pie, which makes me think that that your shoe pastry thing is correct. But I have to say that Ian's argument does have physical evidence in the form of earthling art to corroborate it. So ultimately, I'm gonna have to vote for Ian.
Okay.
This may be me and my sweet tooth, but I'm going to go with the. I do really like the food based presentation. It sounded very much like a cream horn from my planet.
Nice. All right, Ian, you probably have this, but let's see who you're voting for. Maybe not.
I thought it was quite hilarious when the pouring out of from the comments magnanimous moisture was clearing out the house. That was quite good. I like that one, so I'm going to give it to Monique.
All right, so Ian and Monique are tied. So I think in this case, and I forget, Monique, if you know the exact rules on it, because again, this is a new thing that we added, which is that you both get the point.
Oh, okay. We've actually never had a tie before.
Well, because it's online, it's like but like in the game rules, I believe that you just split the points. Yeah. Good job.
Yay, Ian and Monique.
Yes. We found something else interesting when they were in Earth, the desolate planet last time.
Oh, I have a pungent kitten.
What?
Yes, a pungent kitten, and it was found on a farm.
Ooh.
I mean, that makes sense. That's where I've heard of pungent kitten. I mean, that's where I've heard of kittens being. And I mean, if they've been playing lots of hockey in the fields, like more of a field hockey than a like ice hockey, because that's not going to work on a farm, because who's heard of ice on a farm? But whenever they play really hard, they get really pungent. I don't know if you've seen any pungent kittens recently, but I recommend you stay away. And fields are where they make sense, because they've been having lots of fun, and they've been running around and shooting those. I can't remember what we called them earlier, but they're like pucks or something like that, and they get them into the things where they score points. Yeah, so punching kittens makes sense on farms. It would make sense that that's where you found it. From my understanding.
Now, I don't know if this is the only thing that a pungent kitten could be, but in some of the cultures, a pungent kitten was like actually, a very popular food where they would keep the kittens out, and they would, the kittens were at this point overtaking the population. They were literally using them for food, which seems horrible now because we've seen the historical document footage of them and how cute they were, and we can't imagine that. But there was a point there where food was scarce near the end, and the pungent kittens had to be eaten, and it was one of the only things that you could trade at the end there. So like they called them PKs actually. That's how I originally heard about it. Trying to find what the PK they kept talking about, which I guess was like a currency, but basically it was like a food or like a fur that they would trade near the end.
So, as the expert of food, hello, would you think that the more pungent the kitten, the more valuable they were?
I think so. Yeah, that makes sense. You could attract the smells and it would be wafting. That would make sense.
Okay. So, what my research has discovered is actually all these things happen on a farm that was rife with kittens. All these things are happening. And of course, what did people turn to in this time of tragedy? But music. And so bringing together this dearth of pungent kittens that were coming around, they, of course, decided to make a song about it that would kind of ritualize how they cared for said kittens that were kind of becoming an infestation. This is actually happening right before the Grapes of Wrath, but it's a very hidden moment in Earth's history. So during the Dust Bowl era, kittens are coming. They were moving. They had to make songs about moving and clearing out all these kittens. And one of them is called "Pungent Kittens" by the Froggy Kitty Boys, a famous folk band. The Froggy Kitty Boys went on tour, and they were like the Pied Pipers, and they go around as people were evacuating these lands and the Dust Bowl and everything else is going on. They would sing, and then the kittens would kind of disperse and kind of like lemmings go forth off into the yonder and away from their farms to pungent no more.
I think I heard of this after they were like these Pied Piper type people came through to draw their pied kittens towards them. Like the kittens were done with their hockey and they were like, okay, I'm done with that, let's move on. I feel like they were like, okay, let's keep moving, and the Pied Pipers kept drawing them towards them away from all of the smell that they left behind.
I believe that the music that we're talking about was called Pungent Sound, and it was a place in the northwestern part of one of the Earthling countries, where the cats would gather to hear the pungent sound and try to. They would actually sing along with it. I believe the cats would sing something like "me me me" or something like that. I forget exactly what it was.
Yeah, it was. It's very.
Having ancestors from that area, I almost feel like I resemble that remark. Dang, sure.
Yeah. It's a rare Earthling mouth thing that they did, but it was very beautiful, very beautiful, very weird, very beautiful. Yes.
So you said you were on a farm. So when I landed, I heard they were calling these kinds of things that were growing out of the ground, they were calling them catbage, right? They've got green catbage, red catbage, things like that. But over in Brussels, they have these weird stalks with little catbages coming off of them. And what is a little cat but a kitten? So they were, because the vegetable was so bitter, that they were so pungent in their flavor, that these little cabbages or little pungent kittens would grow all over the place in Brussels.
Yes, I heard of that.
That is a food, and yeah, maybe that was the PK, you know?
That makes sense.
Makes sense. I mean, I always thought it was dead kittens, but maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, I've got no argument against it. I thought it might be just that there were kittens, and so they were working a lot, because, like, there's also this thing called sock hair, where they run a lot and get a lot of sweat, but cabbages makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and what are we thinking? Anybody disagree with that sentiment?
No, I'm all up in the cat bitches. I love those.
Me too. And I'm another food expert, and Ian and I don't always see eye to eye on food history, but I might be wrong in this case.
I think sports might be wrong too.
Yeah, I heard of the pungent sound.
I feel like I should be an authoritarian in the pungent sound, but I can't defend it.
So yeah, I think my vote is on the cat bitches. Yeah.
I'm totally calling Brussels sprouts punching kids.
I don't know. Do I have polydactyl thumbs? Can I count that as 4 thumbs up? Towards cat bitches? Oh, did Heather freeze?
Oh, she did. I thought she was just very...
This is art, actually. This is another found object. This is Heather in repose.
This is the next version.
Oh, man.
Well, I think we can solidly all agree that Ian won that round. So does that mean he picks the next round, or you know how this game fully works?
Mm-hmm. So Ian now gives a bonus point to someone he believes that also provided a very good argument.
Yeah,
and now that was the end of the art piece. We now have Heather in full. When you froze, it was Heather in repose, and now you're
Heather's frozen again.
Now
I thought it was just a really bad joke. I was like, okay, maybe it wasn't good. Heather's unamused. Oh no! Well, dead Cam. Tough crowd. Although, actually, I'm going to spin it this whole time as if my bad joke killed the camera.
Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, it's
You're still frozen, but we can hear you fine.
my computer decided to just restart right in the middle of that. Sorry, everyone.
Yay, computers!
Yeah.
We're still going. That's good.
No, frozen
Sorry,
still.
mine just kind of stopped. Like, we don't want to
Yeah.
look at your camera anymore.
Yeah, apparently. I might just have to drop and you guys just go for a minute and I'll pop back in when I'm all set. Because you guys seem to be fine. It's still live, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go to the next one.
Right. So now it's a bonus point.
Oh,
So
sure.
Ian got the win, and then Ian assigns a bonus point to the next person.
I think I liked the amount of stretch that Monique had to do, so I'm going to award the points on that.
Gotta drink your milk, your water, do your paddleboard yoga. So Ian got the win, and then.
Cool.
Okay, cool. I don't know how we're keeping score yet, but who has not presented? Yeah, Jess, have you?
I have not yet. So I saw a magical lizard at an army base. And I'd love to hear more about what y'all have heard about Earth interactions with these type things, because it doesn't sound very sportsy to me. I mean, I can come up with something, but
Sure.
y'all might have more information.
So actually, hang on. I want to see if I can switch my expertise here.
I know the name of a magical lizard from the Earth Times. I believe it was Godzilla.
I heard they were big.
Yeah. So apparently, the Earthlings had a love-hate relationship with the Godzilla. They were so big that everybody loved them and adored them, but also they could be very careless and sometimes would destroy property. Magical lizards. I mean, I gotta say, The magical lizards in my house always causing trouble.
I can't believe I missed us talking about magical lizards. Am I
On
just
an army base.
Oh wow, on an army base. Wow. That's amazing. Magical lizards.
I mean, Jay started us off with the Godzias and how they had a tendency to destroy things unintentionally because there was a love-hate relationship with Earth, and like they had a tendency to also help Earth somehow.
Yep.
I would love to hear more from Jay about how they helped Earth, but I'm not sure. Do you have more information on that?
There's quite a lot of culture and art around the Godzilla. They produced a number of moving pictures about the Godzilla, but personally, my favorite is the children's book Godzilla Go to Bed, in which a very small child is trying to convince Godzilla that he is sleepy, so that he will go to bed, so that the small child can sleep as well. It's really quite adorable and also terrifying.
I mean,
And all Earth was.
if the child then went to bed, it was totally worth it. I don't know that my children would go to bed after they convinced Godzilla to go to bed. I think they just take that time to celebrate.
Yes.
So there was these battles between the humans and Godzilla went on for just decades, like dozens of them. And then one day, they would come every day, or every time they came, they'd come and they'd destroy these major cities, and then they'd be beaten back. But then one day, from up underneath the depths of the sea, I'm sorry, I am Monique, and right now I am actually an expert of earthling religions. So from the sea arose another Godzilla, and this one was named Dax, and he became sentient because of all the times that they have fought with earthlings and men and humankind. This one was able to build kind of a telepathic understanding of humanity, and therefore grew up with more human thoughts. So they rose up from the sea, and then they became kind of an ambassador between the humans and the Godzilla, and they almost were able to come to terms about how to rescue the city instead of destroying it. And then another god came called I may get this wrong in my dialect, but I believe it was Kinnig Konig, and the other god Kinnig Konig and the Godzilla began to have a war, and the humans were caught in the middle of this, and it all kind of devolved into there was a lot of things, a lot of information that was lost in that fight, but it then became less about like the relationship between the Godzilla and the Kinnig Kong. It was war between these two great gods, and then they left and destroyed the planet in their wake while they battled each other. So it was actually brought about the end of mankind.
Is that what caused the Zamboni to come about? Was they needed to resolve this issue between the War of the Gods? They needed to like suck up one of the gods that wasn't worthy? Is that what?
Maybe.
Actually, it was how they summoned the Godzilla. They made a wrong turn on the Hake floor, and it ended up making some sort of marking. The Godzilla awakened.
Wait, did it make a big bell?
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
This sounds like a thing I've heard of. I think he might have been the president of Earth at the end, named Gritty. And Gritty is another sentient monster, not nearly as popular as the other gods, but did live under a hockey ice rink, from what I know. So there were many things, food named after Gritty, many orange foods near the end. A lot of orange things happened in Earth near the end. So,
but then the Kraken came in and helped him out, right?
Kraken was actually his last name. His first name was Jason.
Oh, good to know.
Jason
So
Kraken.
Yeti and Kraken work together?
We don't know. This Gritty thing is reminding me, though, even though that, Gritty has food and, he lives under where Zambonis are, the Godzilla thing is reminding me a little bit of, I think Godzilla is actually the way you're supposed to say it. Could be correct. I'm not sure. But there's actually a chain of food establishments that they called restaurants, and it was called Magic Lizards. And it became a very popular place, and it was actually a little bit racy for the time, where the servers, the men of the nation would wear very short shorts, and they would potentially flaunt it while they were serving wings and other lizard-like foods. And it was a popular chain, and it was called Magical Lizard. So you might have seen reference to that, and probably because the war was over, everyone was in peace times and having a good time. So, they kind of poke fun at that war through this chain restaurant of Chotskis and objectified men.
See, when you said racy, I thought you were saying that they raced Zambonis, and I was going to be very thrilled. And I think I have a new business venture for my home planet.
Nice.
I like it.
So I heard something a little different. Words going around the army base. One of the things that they would serve to all of the soldiers in the army are these things. I think they were called MREs, things like that. And I heard that they're not very good. Like they're very.
They sound like a mystery.
Right. Now,
mystery's ready to eat. You got it.
And one of the things that would happen is they would just sort of have these things all over the place, and you wouldn't know when one of these would expire or anything like that. So they would just serve them up to people, and then sometimes every once in a while, an army soldier would get an expired one, and as soon as they took their first bite, they would do with the magic lizard. They would just go.
Oh my god, that was a long lead up.
At least it went somewhere. I was very pleased with that.
Ian, what noise did they make? Because I'm guessing that would be a pretty pungent sound.
Yeah.
Especially if they ended up with expired pungent kittens in their mysteries ready to eat. It would just be like a.
Yeah, there was definitely some PKs in those MREs. Wow, this is a tough one, everyone. Do we feel like we're ready to vote? Mm-hmm. All right.
I'm completely ready whenever you want to first vote.
Go ahead, Jess.
Ian's got my vote. I went to military school, so as soon as he brought up MREs, he got my vote.
I unfortunately missed some of Jay's, but I know that Jay brought in the Godzilla, Lizzo.
Yeah.
Not Lizzo. What is it? Godzilla. I don't know. These Godzilla creatures.
My money's on Lizzo.
Yeah, that would be rad. Jay, I vote for Jay.
Yeah, I too vote for Jay. A vote for Jay is a vote for Godzilla.
Very good choice.
I have to vote for Jay as well. I think everyone who's like personally knows the amount of Godzilla collectibles that I have. As soon as Jay said Godzilla, I was like, no.
Like, I was gonna go there.
I have studied the Earth cultures with the arts and it's got seals everywhere.
Yeah, that was kind of the crucial, like, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, pretty good. So it's funny that I missed that you were talking about magical lizards, but luckily I got here in time because when I was recently at Earth, I discovered a snake mansion. Yeah, I know. And there was a few references to it, and as a food expert, it really hasn't come up. So I was hoping maybe someone else has heard of this.
Heard of what
I mean,
about?
Snake mansion. Snake mansion.
Snake? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think through.
Hi, I'm Monique, expert of human travel. And so the humans led very, very confusing lives, and they spent most of it doing what they didn't actually want to do. So what they did when they had time to do things they actually wanted to do was they would go look for thrills by visiting what they called sideshows. Now, at some of these sideshows, they would see the unusual and the strange. We know that was just kind of some folks of mine that retired from our planet. They ended up becoming one of these sideshows. This is actually kind of a personal thing for me because I'm very connected to the story. So it ended up that people from my planet went to Earth, became a sideshow, and they developed their home. Where, my home, we live in tubes, and Earthlings live in boxes. And so they came out of their box, and then they saw the tubes of my people, and they said, Snake Mansion. So it became a popular travel place, and they just went with it, and they just pretended that they were all wearing costumes. That is the Snake Mansion. Yep, it's actually a little bit of the future. Back on Earth.
So in my reviews of the human art, Zaxor, I discovered that humans loved to see groups of snakes and to interact with them in large quantities. They would put them in tombs to discover. They would put them on planes, and of course, on mansions. They just loved being able to go to one place to get all of their snake interactions at once, rather than having to go from one snake to another. Just go to the snake mansion and just get. I believe they liked to crawl through the snakes. I think they called it Scrooge McDucking it. They would swim through large quantities of snakes in the snake tank.
Yeah.
And Zaxor, if I'm remembering my history correctly, the prize was those snakes, correct?
Oh.
Like they would compete to win the snakes that were at that mansion that you mentioned.
Yes.
And they would just keep going, and it would almost be like a fist fight. If I'm remembering correctly of how they explained what was happening, but it was like one person would hit one person, and then the more blood they could draw, the better. But then the person who gave up lost, and the person who drew the most blood won, and then they got to go to this snake mansion and pick out their favorite snake. Am I remembering things correctly? I mean, feel free, anybody.
I don't know. Oh, sorry, Zaxor. But one thing I did hear about, and this could clarify some things, is there was such a thing as a McMansion, and I'm thinking maybe McDuck, Scrooge McDuck, McMansion, and that probably meant it was full of snakes. But maybe there was something about these. I don't know. But it became a trend of lower class people to pretend like they were these McDuckinits type folk. So they would have some snakes. They probably weren't as exciting as the real snake mansions. But they would throw as many snakes into their house as they could, just to show how wealthy they were and how much prowess they had.
Yeah, and I believe that when you won a snake, it was presented in a basket, and I believe the more that you won, the larger the basket was. I think the largest was called a grande, and you could get like a vanilla snake grande, vanilla grande snake. I think
Yeah.
that's snake.
Yeah, that sounds right. Actually, I've heard of that before. Yeah.
I'm sorry you broke me.
Ian, have you heard of this snake mansion?
Well, I know everyone down in Texas likes to pretend that they're a millionaire, you know. And one of the things that's quite prevalent down there is rattlesnakes. So I heard that what they would do is they would get their boots on and they would go stomping around the woods, and then all the snakes would come out into this capturing device that looked like a mansion. They were like, well, if we're going to be mean, then we might as well, be nice, So
that sounds like humans. I from history.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds like them.
and as soon
You
as
gotta be cruel to be kind. Yeah.
Right.
it's called tough love.
Tough love.
I heard
Yeah,
it was being kind.
being two-faced. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Passive aggressive. Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I got it wrong. Nice. Sorry. You say something, but you don't really care behind it.
I believe they crossed snakes behind their back to signify the lie.
Oh, and there was that staff thing that I saw in some physical therapy book that had a staff and then a snake around it. Was the more of those they had in the house, the more of a snake mansion it was. So it had higher rankings.
Oh, the other thing,
Love snakes.
I also saw a strange symbol. They had this giant building with this staff with snakes going like this around it.
Huh.
And
Was
that's
it like a temple, like a church?
kind of like it. I mean, there's a room where there are church-like activities in this snake mansion. But there was a lot of people wearing white coats and treating a lot of people.
Were they sick? Or were they just overly tired from too much activity?
I mean, they were chasing the Zamboni around. Anyone would get tired doing that. Especially when it's so darn cold out. But yeah, I think now that I think back on that, I think that's what it might be. Was they had these giant buildings, these mansion-like things with a giant snake going around the staff.
Yes.
I
believe I've heard of this.
I have just remembered another possible meaning of this word. So I believe that Snake Mansione was the brother of the musician Chuck Mansione, and they would play music together. I believe they had like a long flute wind type instrument that they would use to charm the audience. Chuck and Snake Mansione. Yeah.
Oh. All right. Well, I think we've figured it out, everyone. Good job.
Yeah. I feel very good about this. What a good summit.
All right. What do we want to start with? Let's start with Jay voting first.
All right. So I liked when Jess brought up the snake around the staff before Ian did. So
Yeah. Ian's like, oh, that was a good idea. I'll just say that.
Let me piggyback and then not get any points.
Ian, do you have a rebuttal?
I absolutely loved Jay's first one.
Yeah.
That was quite funny.
The mansion full of snakes. Yeah. I also was gonna say Jay because I think that led us down a path that, was really fun and clearly the right answer. Jess.
I also was going to pick Jay because, yeah, he totally sent us down the right path. I mean, but then not going to win, but I would put Ian as the, support because he had a really good support option.
Buddy?
I'm going also with Jay. This is just sound.
Yeah, I mean, snakes are on everything. If you think about it, it's in all their history books. It's everywhere. So yeah, they loved snakes. Clearly,
Yes, that's why they compared them to politicians.
Love it.
Exactly.
We almost got a snake as a wedding present.
Oh,
Wow.
But in ironic turn of events, the person who was breeding the snakes was going through divorce, and the man that she was divorcing turned off all the heat to the snake room.
Ooh.
So I was trying to tie that in, but
That's going to, yeah.
yeah.
All right, so I think everyone created a phrase, right, and found something. So everyone's had a turn, or did we miss one? I had my little technical issue, so
No, it's okay. I think we got everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
We can do one more if anyone's up for it, and just kind of round it out, or we can end it on snakes. It's up to you all on timing. What are we feeling?
I could go either way, but I would need a 2-second break because I need to go potty.
Jake, Ian, what do we think from an East Coast perspective? Do you want to wrap it up, or do you want to do one more?
It's Friday night. It's
all right. You're down to clown.
I'm not 38.
Best answer ever.
In human years. Yeah. All right. Well, why don't we let Jess take a break for a minute? And I think Ian started us off. So why don't you start getting another word, and we'll do one more and maybe two more, and that'll be the end of it, depending on time.
I'm gonna grab my water bottle while she's using the loo.
Sure. It's real casual after dark here, clearly.
We'll just do the one. I gotta wake up tomorrow.
Yeah, well, that's why I wanted to check with you too, because I'm like, we're all on the East Coast, so we can also just play for fun offline tomorrow if anyone wants to.
What was that?
I said we can always play this offline tomorrow if anybody wants to.
Hey.
Hit us up on the Pub server if you guys are in. Wishy Math seems pretty into it. Who else is on here?
This is great.
Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Lecter. I'm assuming Ben is non-pub.
Trying to figure out a joke so that I could say Samuel L. Jackson, but
Also, Jay, I don't think that you are ignorant. Ben told me to say it.
you don't think I'm what?
Remember when you said your answer, and I was like, Jay, you ignorant alien?
Oh yeah.
I was like, Ben told me to say that.
Ian, how you doing over there? You have your word?
I do.
Or your phrase? Okay.
All right. It is in a locker room. I should have looked at the location before I selected my beach pudding.
Beef pudding.
Wow.
All right, I have to pick another one. I picked truck pudding.
Oh, we love that pudding.
Beach pudding.
Pudding is, magnanimously moist, right?
It does. It does.
As we all know, the puddings on Earth are extremely dangerous. Blood pudding, all those kinds of dangerous puddings. And as I understand it, at the beach, there were these beach puddings that the humans might step on and could become injured because of the stinging nature of the beach pudding.
I thought they were those things that they shot around and they passed between players and tried to get these things called points from. Like the beach pudding, weren't they the thing that they sent from one person to another?
Oh, like one of those pucks, like one of the pucks. Yeah.
Or these things that they called valves.
Oh, okay. And they would just throw the bowels. Okay.
Yeah, they would send the bowels to one another, and like there was this basket that they would try to put the bowels into.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I heard. But it's been a long time since there's been people on that place called Earth, so
Yeah, who knows?
rumors, you know how they work.
It's funny that Jay brought up the beach puddings being these poisonous globs or maybe creatures even that would hang out on the beaches. But there was this delicacy. I don't know if it was a delicacy, but it was a common dish called a beach pudding, and it was usually at like a summer time, which was their like warm time of year, where people would go to beaches on purpose, and they would make a dish that was reminiscent of this beach pudding creature, with I forget what it was called, but basically it was like a horse that they would throw into a gelatin. That's what I heard anyway. But they would have different flavors that the humans liked, you know, like tobacco and, you know, the beer and those different flavors, and then it would jiggle like the creature that it was reminiscent of, because it was like for the holidays.
Did they also put in like that cherry stuff?
They probably did. They threw a lot of things in there. The records that I found, there would be all types of objects suspended within this beach pudding. Like even a stapler, which we all know what a stapler is now, right? So like, you know, even one of those.
Learned the hard way.
Yeah, we learned the hard way.
That's fascinating. I actually have Monique, expert of human travel. I actually I found an old documentary of actual beach pudding inside a place called the Forests of Fires. And in these Forests of Fires, it's quite fascinating. You're seeing these adventurers kind of go through this Forest of Fires, or it's more like a swamp. And well, beach pudding apparently happens when too many what they called TOUSs, things of unusual sizes. So when too many of these TOUSs would perish in a pile, they would decompose, and the earth beneath them would turn into what they ended up calling beach pudding, because inside this fire forest area was sand. And so the beach pudding would happen, and it looked like regular beach, like regular sand, until you stepped upon it. And then you would disappear through a portal that would suck you into another dimension, because the ground turned into pudding. And so in this documentary, you see a fair maiden go into this beach pudding and slip down while saying something cheeky over her shoulder, and then the compatriot dives into the beach pudding after her. And so the secret is to get a hairy vine, wrap it around your arm, and then you dive in beautifully, perfect form. It's important they have perfect form when doing this dive into beach pudding, and that is apparently the rescue mission. But you just have to be aware of the TOUSs, because they make the beach pudding.
That makes sense.
I heard this was something that weird human parents, you know, do to their children, right? So basically, you ever see a newborn baby, or like a baby between 1 and 2 years old, and the parent would say, "Oh, you're so cute, I could just eat you up," right? Now, the other thing that they would do is they would go to the beach quite often, and they would dress their babies in the most ridiculous little sailor suit outfits. So when they would say, "Oh, my little pudding, I could eat you up," and then take that and put it on like almost like a fashion show on the beach, right? That's where they started to create the beach pudding Olympics.
Oh.
Tell me more.
Babies would get medals through the amount of likes that they would get on their phones based on how ridiculous their outfit was.
Wait, the baby said phones?
The winner would then be dubbed the official beach puddin'.
Yes.
Oh my god.
That does make sense.
So I have remembered another possible interpretation. So there used to be humans that would cross the waters and take things from others. I believe they were pirates, and apparently it was a crime on a pirate ship to do landlubbing. And if you landlubbed, they would beach put you. So they would take a plank and they would make you go on the plank, and they would put you to the beach sooner than the rest of the ship would be going, because they didn't want you on the ship anymore.
So they put you on the beach. That makes sense.
Zaxor, what is a plank? I haven't experienced that on my planet.
So a plank is it was invented by Yogi Bear, and it's when you make yourself as flat as possible, and then ideally hurt your back quite a bit.
And then after your back is hurt, you fall onto the beach?
Correct. Yes.
Oh, okay.
I can attest that many of the documents, and you've probably found this, Monique, as you've been finding documents, is that most humans' backs hurt all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I've also seen that in my sports information.
Yeah.
So many humans, I don't understand.
They should have had a snake. They should have wrapped a snake around their back or something.
Right.
What were they thinking? Come on.
Shouldn't they have figured out something to solve their back problems?
Should have. I don't know. They weren't the smartest creatures,
Humans.
Yeah. I think they were trying. I remember finding a cryptic missive when I was studying music, whereas it's like my neck, my back, something was lost in translation, and then I can't remember what the rest was, but they did complain a lot. Yeah. My neck, my back, something translation, crack. There, yeah. So a lot of pain.
Feel that.
A lot of pain.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think the humans ate fresh Zamboni, thinking that would help them cure their snakeless backs. Yeah.
Right.
And they got it at the Taco Bell, right?
Oh yeah, lip moss.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I think all of these artifacts we find, we're really just about minimizing the terribleness of existence for humankind. Those poor creatures.
Yeah.
Poor creatures. Seriously.
Could you imagine living without Zibdob?
Oh my god, I would never. Don't even say that.
I'm using mine right now.
And just so for everyone who is attending the summit knows, we are being sponsored by Zibdob. Make sure you get yours always.
Absolutely what she said.
Shall we vote?
Anywhere in the galaxy, from what I hear, right? Same millennium shipping. So, yeah.
Before we vote, I want to say it's hilarious to me that we all, as aliens, immediately knew what Taco Bell was. Right.
Well,
But not a point.
You don't have Taco Bell. We have Taco Bell on my planet.
On mine too.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Taco Bell is the intergalactic space agency that brings us all together.
It's absolutely the worst food on my planet, but it's the one that everybody knows. So you go there whenever it's 2 a.m. and you don't have anything else to eat.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, it helped me it helped me when I was going to get my degree at Costco.
Yeah.
Good
Yep.
cheap food.
Costco degrees, they're the best.
Yeah.
I've heard those
Really
their
reasonable.
diplomas, they're the highest quality.
I don't know if we even need to vote on this last one because, we can, though. I already forget what everybody said. But I know it was really good. And clearly we know what we're talking about as experts.
Correct.
We are the best experts.
Yes.
I had to switch rooms. So I believe Jay won from what I remember of Jay having and winning the last 2 rounds. So Zaxor and Jay,
I like it.
Good job. Because Jay has to go, so we're gonna wrap it up. We can say our goodbyes and we'll wrap it up. But if I was saying when you were walking away, if anybody wants to play just for fun on Discord, all through NunPub, many of us will join. So we can start another little one tomorrow.
Is there a NunPub Discord?
Yeah,
I am not in that.
I will message it to you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Heather. It was a really great playing with you all.
Yeah, it was great playing, everybody. Thank you. And once we know when Aloha Earth is actually has a Kickstarter date, we'll let you know. But you can you can follow the Kickstarter a while if I can find it here, and I will put that link in here.
When she says a while, that's how you know she's from Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Not every word is I'm not mayor of Easttown level, but some of the words. All right. Well, thanks everyone. This was great. Thank you everybody for joining, and we will see you all later, NunPub.
Good night, everybody.
Bye. Good night.
Earth.
Heather was a terrific host.
What do we do? Do we just leave? Okay, that's it.
I guess.
Okay, well, nice seeing you.
Have a good night.
Bye.